there, and welcome to Mississippi Creative Arts School. My name is Melissa Ellers, and I am the Arts Integration Coach here. I bet you're wondering what an art school is doing, celebrating women and girls in sports. Well, it is our responsibility to open doors for our children and find their passion. We choose to do this through the arts and through athletics. Our partnership with the St. Paul Parks and Recreation and with the Minnesota Coalition of Women and Girls in Athletic Leadership has provided an amazing opportunity for our girls to be engaged in various sports and learn what Title IX has done for females since 1972. This year, we continue our journey with virtual training and learning about what is gained from playing sports. We have high school athletes who will introduce our girls to some skill work specific to a sport. We have athletes of all ages that will tell our girls about their journey and what sport has done for them. We round our virtual lessons up with coaches telling their perspectives on what it is like to work with student athletes. We here at Mississippi Creative Arts School want to give all of our students the opportunity to grow in every way, every manner possible. This is an amazing way that we can encourage our females. And just so we're clear, we play like girls. Let's see you catch up.
Hi, my name's Diane. I grew up in St. Paul and I played softball, basketball, and anything I could get my hands on through St. Paul Parks. I played in grade school, high school, went on to college, and actually my experiences, I can't tell you what my win-loss record was for any of those sports, but I can tell you how I felt. And I can tell you that at my advanced age of 65, sport and the kinds of support that I received by participating still influence me today. Again, we're celebrating Girls and Women in Sport Day all February. I think a really important point that we need to consider when we're thinking about girls and women in sport, I was in high school in 1971 and I had that aptitude test that every other high school kid was taking, and I could be a stewardess, I could be a nurse, and I supposedly had an aptitude for mechanical drawing. I'm still not really sure exactly what that is, but I know that in my high school I wasn't able to take that class because I was a girl. They only offered it for boys. Thank goodness for 1972 and Title IX with the idea that things of that nature are now archaic. Sport is a powerful vehicle, and we want to make sure that it's more than just winning and losing, that it really is how you play the game. And so that 1972 legislation, Title IX, which said if sport was good for your little boys, it's good for your little girls, it has been a great piece of civil rights legislation that has enhanced boys, girls, men, women, and everything in between. So celebrate girls and women in sport, celebrate all of us.
Hi there, I'm Mary Teresa, and I am 64 years old. I started playing competitive tennis and basketball, and I didn't even get started till I was a junior because there was no organized sports for women. I ended up playing college basketball at Mankato State University. I went on to officiate women's basketball. I was one of the first women officials. I had a lot of fun doing that. Sport offered me the foundation for my business success. I retired as an executive vice president at Dillon Gage Metals, and a big part of that success came from knowing how to play on a team, having a common goal, working hard, achieving that goal, and learning how to win. But right alongside learning how to win, I learned how to lose. Losing with grace, losing with dignity, moving on, and experiencing the next event. I owe sports everything in my life. I'm grateful for the friendships and the relationships that I've developed over the past 42 years. Thank you.
My name is John. I work for St. Paul Parks and Recreation, talking a little bit about experience with sports, why this is important. We work with kids every day. We see the teamwork, the building, the skills that they're able to come up with. And that's for both genders. That's for boys and girls. The lessons learned, just even playing tag or playing dodgeball, the teamwork, the camaraderie is really important. And I think it's important that every kid gets that opportunity. Male, female, doesn't matter. Everybody gets a chance. Everybody gets to learn a little bit more. Everybody gets to experience that and get that team bonding. As leaders in our community, we need to make sure that we foster that situation. We need to make sure that we're encouraging everyone to be able to participate in the games and sports that they think are interesting to them. Not everybody likes basketball, but they might like golf or tennis or other sports that they might try. That's really important as well, to foster those opportunities.
Hi, I'm Lizzy. I work for the St. Paul Parks and Rec department. My story with sports growing up, I am a kid with a disability, so my parents thought it was really important for myself to get involved in sports, to not only prove to myself, but also to others that no matter what your ability is, that you can do everything that anybody else can do. Growing up, I always felt kind of weird, like, oh, I walk funny or whatever, so I wouldn't be as good, but it actually got me to work twice as hard to prove that I could do anything that any normal kid could do with any ability. And that actually, I was able to get some of my friends in there who also have disabilities. So it was amazing for me to kind of build that community as a kid. Girls growing up, or any little kid, I think sports is such an important community where you just learn so much confidence about yourself. And also just having a big group of people to just be there to cheer you on when you're at your lowest and when you're at your highest. So I think that's super important for kids nowadays, to have that extra community. I do coach. So for me to be able to be there, to work with these kids, to say, you are improving, you are doing so well, you are a rock star. A lot of these kids, I love to see their smiles on their faces after they score a point or goal. And it's really great to see these kids' confidence grow, because that's what sports in the city of St. Paul did for me as a kid, which was great growing up with a disability.
Hi there, I'm Amy Brunmone, the president of the St. Paul City Council, and I am here so excited to be celebrating girls and women in sport for Sports Day, but we're going to celebrate it all through the month of February because it's that cool and important. And actually looking at decades now of the Title IX program, which started when I was just a kid in elementary school. And so cheers for women and girls in sports. It's an exciting, exciting month, and we're going to have opportunities to highlight the great things that we're doing here in St. Paul. Sport and activity has always been important to me. I'm kind of an outdoorsy person. I went to summer camp as a kid and had opportunities to work with a small cabin group that's kind of like a team to practice canoeing and hiking and sailing and other outdoor activities. And as I got older and kind of more confident about my skills and abilities, it really taught me to take risks and try things like soccer and other activities in high school sports like ultimate frisbee that I wouldn't have tried if I didn't have that confidence and background. And when you play on a team sport, you really get to learn how to trust and work with other people. You get coaching and mentoring from leaders that are not your parents and not your teachers and can affect you and impact you in different ways, and really can make a difference in how you perceive your own ability to be a leader in the community, and in my case, in politics. I have seen wonderful growth of kids who have participated in our Parks and Recs activities, and I know that our committed staff it's what they get up to do every day in the morning and what puts a smile on their face. We've got an incredible team working here to move sports and athletics forward, and particularly to make sure that our girls and young women are a part of it.
Hi, my name is Songvang, and I work for St. Paul Police as a community liaison officer. I would like to tell you a little bit about my journey to become a community liaison officer and into law enforcement. Sports was a very important part of that journey. Before I started law enforcement, I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself, and I felt like very small and weak. So I decided to take up some classes in mixed martial arts, and that helped me find my skills, my ability within myself, and find the confidence that I never knew that I had. And I brought that with me into law enforcement. When I did trainings, it was easier for me. I knew that I wasn't as big as the guys. I knew I wasn't as strong as them. But I had the skills and confidence in me to be able to do the same trainings and be just as strong and just as good as these other officers. So what sports means to me, especially being a community liaison officer and as among women, I don't see a lot of people like me. And I want to be that role model for the next little girl who believes that she can do it too. That's where I began, and that's where I want to start it and plant the seed for someone else. So if someone like me who felt like she was so little and couldn't do it at all and is now working for St. Paul Police and have made it through the skills program, and is confident in her skills in mixed martial arts. I believe in you, and I know you can do it too. Whatever you believe in and whatever goals that you have, we all believe in you.
My name is Kamala, and I love sports. I started out playing with my brother and my sister and my cousins and going around St. Paul, biking, going swimming at the beach, at the pools, at the rec centers, playing sports, running track, in our backyards, across the street at the schools, everywhere we did sports. At the age of 50, I will still be doing sports. It's just something that you can do long term. It keeps your mind sharp, your body fit, your health up, and it also brings you into your community. You can play with your kids. Your family, it's always going to be around. The first time you start thinking about sports, it can be intimidating. You may question your skills. You may question how long it's going to take you to learn, if you're going to be like as good as someone else. Take your mind out of that and just give yourself the confidence that it's worth trying. It doesn't always matter if you're doing a sport and you don't see someone that looks like you. Is it nice to have someone that looks like you? Same hair, same skin tone, same build? Yeah, but realistically, it's not always going to be the way. So no matter what your size, whatever your skin tone, your background, sports starts with everybody. It's about your willingness to do it. For me, swimming, there wasn't always anyone there that looked like me, but what I got out of it is I'm an individual.
I'm a mother now. Growing up, I played a lot of sports. I played soccer, basketball, tennis, really any sport that I could that would keep me busy. I definitely grew up in a time where that's all we pretty much had was sports. We didn't have the social media and those other things that kind of took you maybe away from getting outside. So definitely sports was my only outlet. Quite frankly, it kept me out of any trouble. And I played all the way. I played all from second grade. I feel like I started in about second grade, about 7 or 8 years old, and I played all the way to college. I learned about being punctual. There were so many things like at practice, you weren't allowed to be late. There were just many things that I learned that I think I use specifically again about being on time, just learning how to respect others, how to work well with others. My first mentor, strangely enough, she was my very first coach. She was only 16 years old, and I was probably about 8 or 9, but she taught me so much because I was an obnoxious child. But at the tender age of 16, she understood and understood kind of how to deal with me. And I was much taller than everyone, stronger, quite frankly, better at sports than some of the kids around me. And she taught me to be humble and taught me that, okay, you're better than everybody now, but people will catch up. And so that was huge. And she did it in a way where it didn't feel offensive and I just began to look up to her.
I am Deb Sunderman, and I have played lots of different sports, and I think that sports and activity is so important to all people. I'm a physical education teacher by trade, but any sport is very, very good for you. I'm going to tell you a little story about when I was in high school. Played high school volleyball and basketball, and I've seen Iowa State girl basketball on TV, and I've seen boys basketball on TV, and by golly, in those days, girls didn't have a state tournament. So my best friend and I called Dorothy McIntyre, the head of the Minnesota State High School League, and said, Dorothy, when are you going to have the girls' state basketball tournament? She said, well, Deb, in 1975 we're going to have it. And we said, okay, we're going to be there. And she goes, well, they're not selling tickets yet. And we said, we won't need a ticket, I don't think, because we're going to be in it. And sure enough, we practiced and we practiced and we practiced some more. And in 1975, we were in the state tournament. We didn't win, unfortunately, but we set a goal, and that's what we shot for. And that's what's important in all sports, and not just winning, but the participation. You know, the most satisfying thing that I did was having my family, having the family of the school be a part of it. Because everyone, since I was little, helped me get to that spot. And it was my mentors. They were women, they were men, they were people that just encouraged me. So I think that's the most satisfying thing, is that when I went there, my folks traveled to Korea, and they traveled to Atlanta to see me play or see me coach. So that was the most satisfying, I think, is getting everyone involved.
My name is Sue Sajvic. I grew up on the east side of St. Paul, playing many sports. Since I was in 3rd grade, my brother would leave the house and he would have practice, and I would say, how come he doesn't have to do the dishes? Or why doesn't he have to stay here and do chores? And my mom would say he had practice. And so I was going to get me some practice. and that's what I started to do. I also told my dad in 6th grade I was going to get a scholarship, and he said, I'm sorry, honey. They just don't give girls scholarships. But by the time I was a senior, I got a scholarship to go to UMD and play volleyball, basketball, and softball there. And sports have just opened up so many doors for me. Yeah, I've met so many different people, dealing with everybody's talent levels and energy levels, and it's just been great because you're able to apply it to regular life. I've loved so many teammates, just have been so supportive, and you learn cooperation, teamwork, how to deal with loss, how to deal with winning, and to still be that genuine person throughout all of it. I've always wanted to be a teacher and a coach since I was 5. And as I got to play the sports and fell in love with them, I wanted to teach everybody how to love to move. I didn't care how they moved. I just wanted them to be able to be in shape and have opportunities. So I started off in elementary school and teaching, and I just introduced them to as many things as possible, because who was I to say what they would like?
My name is Lordji Lundgren. When I first started playing athletics, I did it because my family life was kind of and back then they had St. Paul Park and Rec, and I started going to the Park and Rec to escape my family, and found out that they actually had sports, so I started playing sports. I learned a lot of things because I loved the Park Rec, because it saved my life. It was my second family. If it wasn't for the park board, I don't know where a lot of kids would be today. Some of it, I don't know where it is today and how they work today, but back in those days, they saved kids' lives, including myself. Sometimes you lose, and I'm not a very good loser. I just have to say that. I'm not a very good loser. I like to win, but by losing, it builds character. And I think I learned more from losing than I did actually from winning. So yes, in life, there are more losses. You lose more than you win. And I think I learned that from sports, because we didn't always win. The teams that you create back then, they never go away. They never go away. In fact, when I was asked to do this, I thought there's a lot more people than me that should be speaking and talking. And so I thought, I'm going to call some of those people. And I haven't seen them in 30 years. And guess what? They were there, And they said yes. So what I learned again and again, that all those relationships that I created by playing on those teams, actually, I still have those relationships. So if I had anything, I got anything out of this, it was the idea and the ability to learn how to create relationships. So I'm going to tell you, if you're young and you got it in you, stay in sports. It's the best thing you can do.
Hi everybody, my name is Tulor and I am currently a senior at Bethel University. How I started playing sports was back in 2011. I first arrived in Minnesota and from Thailand, and I did not have any friends. When I went to elementary school at Como Senior High, I started making some friends here and there, but none of them played sports. But at my apartment, the apartment that I live at, the apartment complex, we had a few other Korean family, and a few of them were women, and they've invited me to play with them, and that's how I started making my first friends in the United States. I was one of the first 2 girls that made it to the varsity team at Como Senior High, because back then it was all predominantly white, and I was one of the only few person of color on the team. High school, I became a soccer captain at my junior year and senior year. I was the captain for the team, and it was started to get very, very diverse as the year went on. And I met a really amazing coach. His name is Kyle Johnson, and that's how I've kept myself going, and now I continue working with him as he is starting an organization called Korean Football Association, and this organization is helping Korean people basically tell their stories out in the world, because a lot of people do not know who the Korean people are, and we are a group of ethnic group that are from Burma that have been persecuted by the Burmese army for so many years, and it's, as I'm speaking, a lot of people are running, a lot of people are in fear, and so I just want to tell my stories as an athlete and as a Korean person of why sports matter, because sports gave me the friends that I needed, gave me the mentors that I needed, gave me the leadership that I needed throughout my, starting from middle school to high school to being in college now. Sports is what's kept me going.
My name is Timu Cha. I came from Thailand refugee camp, and I came here when I was 12 to 13 years old. What got me to sport is when I was little, I was really bad. I smoked a lot, and my parents feel so sad that I'm such a bad older sister for my siblings. So I just want to be better for myself and my sibling, be a really good model for my siblings when they grow up. I first started with soccer. They had first Korean tournament in Minnesota, and then I joined it. But I was just joined it as regular persons that I didn't even know I know how to play soccer. So I started there and I started playing, and I seemed to really like soccer, playing around, running around, and meeting new people. And then I started making friends, and people started giving me tips and stuff. And then that's when one of my friends told me, like, if you want to play soccer, you need to be really healthy, because when you run, you need to be able to run playing soccer. So by smoking, it takes a lot for me, like, to be able to run and stuff. So soccer made me feel like I can get out of trouble. And then I want to be a good person. I want to be a professional soccer player one day. If I want to be a professional soccer player, I need to quit smoking. So I was able to quit smoking, and I started playing soccer. That's when my soccer skills got better. And not just that, I get to meet a lot of people that are very, very talented and very knowledgeable people. And then they teach me how to be a really good mentor to other people, leadership, be a better communicator, like to other kids, and being involved in a lot of sports. I have changed many people's lives by playing sports, and it made me feel really grateful that I was able to do that.
Hi, my name is Courtney. I work for St. Paul Parks and Recreation. Sports is everything in my life. I started out as a park and rec kid. I needed some connection in my life. I needed adults that cared about me and wasn't getting that from home. So I started playing sports at the rec center. When I'm not working at the rec center, I also coach for the Minnesota Twins as their all-star fast pitch softball head coach. And that is a program that allows girls to travel the country playing softball. The power of sports is community building, whether it's building relationships with your teammates that are your same age, your coaches, your administrators. It builds a level of respect, learning how to lose gracefully, learning to admire your umpires even if they're not necessarily making the call that you want, but respecting their authority. It means everything. It also shows employers and recruiters and college admissions people that you're able to work as a team, that you are able to take in the feelings and the benefits that other people can provide. Nobody's winning championships on their own. It takes all of us together.
Hi, my name is Gina Stokes. I'm a recreation program supervisor for the city of St. Paul. I've played sports since I was 4 years old through the park department. I started working in the park department out of high school, and it's been a big passion of mine to bring equitable sports to young women in the city of St. Paul. Also giving young people an opportunity to try sports maybe they never have heard of before or had the opportunity or watched their brothers play, and continue that support throughout St. Paul. I have been playing sports again since I was 4. I continue to play in an adult program where I've built lifelong friends, mentorships, family members. I couldn't have gotten where I'm at without the support that sports has given me. And I want to provide that same service to young people and young women in St. Paul as well. I am given an opportunity to, at a higher level, connect those dots and provide the resources throughout St. Paul, in partnership with St. Paul Public Schools as well, and realizing we have to collaborate together to be stronger in the passion and stronger in the education, especially in the cultural and immigrant population of the sports and the education and how they tie together, how health and wellness is important as well, and how recreation doesn't always correlate or translate throughout different immigrant populations and different countries as education does. So it's my goal and passion to bring that back to St. Paul and give young people an opportunity, young girls, that they never had before.